So what they did, while the choreography is going on, this is before the baptism. This is the getting the people, and then we go to the river. And then one by one, everybody gets the dunk, right? And everybody gets the dunk, right? So before the dunking for the baptism, where Beyonce and Kendrick Lamar kicking the water on people and stuff like that, right? Which is the baptism, because they're forcing them to be awake now. They're putting everything on Front Street now. They're not even holding anything back now. They're putting everything out there. What do you mean they're putting everything out there? Okay, like somebody said, you sound corny with that Illuminati mess, right? Because really what's going on, like we said, Sasha Fierce and Bay are one. It's the culmination, right? So all these comedic people, yeah, see, she was doing my art because she's my art, and then that showing that they know about Kemet. Oh, forget that stuff, because she was doing Thunderbird too, and she was doing Zoroastrian too. So she was Zoroaster, and she was Thunderbird, and she was the Phoenix rising from the ashes, and she was Sasha Fierce, and she was Queen Bey, and she was Ma'at. And it's not just some Kemet stuff. Ancient Egypt. We told you that's dead. And it had to take the Bey, who is the custodian of all the cultures, to be the custodian of all the cultures. And show everybody on the goddamn BET Awards, which you know all these Negroes were watching, came out and put everything on the record. Everybody's blind and can't see because they want to be black people. But she's Bey. They honor her, they go to her concert and all that BS, but she's Bey. Right? And there's the baptism there. Right? Giving them the baptism. Dying for their sins. For all these Negro black colored idiots out here. Right? So, while the freaking thing's going by, the distraction, in the beginning, this is what's playing in the background. When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note was a promise that all men, yes, black men as well as white men, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is obvious today that America has defaulted on this promissory note, insofar as her citizens of color are concerned. Instead of honoring this sacred obligation, America has given the Negro people a bad check, a check which has come back marked insufficient funds. By the way, this is Martin Luther King, I Have a Dream speech. But they selected this part as the intro for the baptism. So we just go listen to it. And then keep in mind, it's only on the concert version that's going to 50 million people or whatever. I didn't find it on the album version. It's only on the BET Awards version. So, walking on the streets of Pittsburgh, let's just fly through these, what the hell. So we bump into this. Benedict the Moore Church. Right? Benedict the Moore Church. Benedict the Moore Church. You know, but before we got to Benedict the Moore Church, we were driving towards Benedict the Moore Church. And while you're driving toward Benedict the Moore Church, this is what you see driving toward Benedict the Moore Church. Now, clearly, you know that that's something on top of that church. Not really sure exactly, but you know, you really don't know what that is. But the fact that it's that big, you know that there's something to it. There's something to it. So we get closer up on this church called Benedict the Moore. And then on top of Benedict the Moore Church, there's a black man. A man that's black. And then he's standing in between 4 pyramids with the all-seeing eye. There's 4 pyramids, right? So if you put the tops of those together, he's standing inside of a pyramid, right? Or, you know, the pyramid doors are opening and he's coming out, just like how Kendrick Lamar came out the stage. All right, this is how he's coming out the pyramids. A black man. All right, this is where we were when the little brothers came, and we were telling the brother to look up, and what's that? He's like, black man, because he saw this. So we're standing here taking this in, and then a black power guy comes, and we just wanted to put there's that for you there. We just wanted to put the dirty Moor. Remember we told the story about the dirty African Moor sticking his tongue out. Here he is. Right, and then this picture was cropped in order to blow it up. Right? So this was the guy that when we were honoring our ancestor, Benedict the Moore, this African guy, black power, passive, civil rights, bastard Moore, is on the other side of the street sticking out his tongue. Right? Doing the COINTELPRO stuff. So, you know, Amzai went over there, slapped him up 2 times and sent him on his way. So as we're leaving, you know, just in amazement of this Moor on the top of a church, and they have him painted black. So if he's Benedict the Moore and he's painted black, that means he's not a black man, he's a Moor. For all the black people out there who want to be black and say that they're black or whatever, you're talking BS, you're really a Moor. Because Benedict's blacker than half you people. And he's a Moor. And that's written in stone on the church. And we'll start at the church all over the world. So when you go to the back, you see that pointy thing at the back of his head. That's his hood. So now, you have to ask yourself, why would a church have a black man on it, and then the church is called Moore, St. Benedict the Moore, and then he has on a white cloak that's a hood? And then, you know, automatically, white cloak hood, that's Ku Klux Klan. St. Benedict the Moore with the white cloak on top of a church And then, you know, so we're like, damn, they're revealing it. They're showing that that's not the clan stuff. And then I was watching some YouTube today, and Islam to the good brother, Rami Salam El, for doing some serious missionary work. Because he made me research our good brother, Malcolm Shabazz, who we would say was Muslim, and he got on the same cloak with the hood. So that would really mean that that really wasn't a church before. And if we go back and talk about Saint Benedict the Moore, and if he's a saint, that would imply, but then, when you do your studies, you find out that even the Catholics have Masonry. They got Catholic Masons. And what's their creed? Islamic. So they're not really Catholic. They're really Islamic. But they call themselves Egyptian stuff and Arabic stuff. Why? Because the Moors were the custodians of the ancient Kemetic culture. What don't you guys get? So down the street from there is another church. So down the street from St. Benedict the Moore Church, there's another church. And then on the side of this church, they have this. So this is another church now. Okay? So this is another church. How is it that... Now, okay, so... when we look at these buildings, these structures right here, this is not some modern stuff. Alright? This is not some modern structure. Okay? This is not some modern structure. These aren't modern structures. These are not modern. So, if Benedict the Moore Church, and then there's a church right here with a big Hebrew star on it, then that means Moors and Hebrews lived in peace together. If they both have the same stuff on the same street, clearly there was peace among them. Because this has nothing to do with religion. It has to do with what's your status. And we know that Hebrews have a status. Okay? So then we go around the corner, and then there's St. Benedict the Moore School. There's St. Benedict the Moore School. And then St. Benedict the Moore School has a logo with a cross wrapped in the red, black, green. St. Benedict the Moore School. St. Benedict the Moore School logo is a cross wrapped in the red, black, green colors. St. Benedict the Moore School. For all the non-believers. You don't have to be Moors if you don't want to. That's your business.